Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Goldstuck. I run the energy storage division of the SOLA Group, a vertically integrated solar energy and battery solutions provider. The presentation that I want to share with you today includes some of our insights on delivering energy services across the African continent. We particularly believe that energy storage delivers multiple benefits to many operations: mining, factories, fast-moving consumer goods, and any other industrial assets. And we think with mining often being remote, it's something that you definitely should consider in your energy applications. The SOLA Group has developed over 300 megawatts of PV projects for utility scale power purchase agreements. We've constructed 60 megawatts, of which we still operate 45. And we operate a number of storage assets across sub-Saharan Africa. But why should you consider clean energy for your mines, and particular storage? I wanted to highlight the gold mines in particular, given the recent rises of the gold price and gold assets. The mines across in this image, you're seeing approximately 400 and something mines in both operation and current exploration. The lines that you see are the power lines, transmission lines, ranging the high voltage transmission lines. The darker the line, the higher the voltage. And what you can see here is that that most mines are indeed on some networks. How reliable those networks are, how many outages or interruptions, that's difficult I can't quantify that here, but generally the lower the voltage and the weaker the network, you're more likely to experience outages. But also important to highlight in this image is that the solar radiation, South Africa and Africa is blessed with abundant solar radiation, much more so than any other continent. And if your mine is situated anywhere in the light orange or even the yellow bands, solar energy is definitely something that you need to consider. In a case where your mine is away from the network, you do have a number of options. And up until recently, mines have been predominantly diesel run. And again, highlighting the gold producing countries in the continent, the diesel prices are in excess of $1 per litre. And this translates to approximately 30 cents per kilowatt hour, depending on your load profile, depending on the generators that you've installed. And then of course, the logistics to get the diesel to site and any other auxiliary operations that you're running. If you are near enough to a power line or a transmission network or node rather, where it's worth considering a power line, perhaps 30 kilometers, maybe even 100 kilometers, you might want to consider building a power line. There are a vast number of risks here beyond what you've already had to consider just developing your mine site, the planning, the political environment, the regulatory environment. If you're building power lines, how long is it going to take to build? What are the costs? Who's going to maintain it? And if it breaks or there's a interruption or the power lines are destroyed through weather, terrorism, or just lack of maintenance, how long is this going to take to restore? So very much in the same way that telecommunications bypassed fixed line installation straight to cellular technology, energy storage combined with solar offers anyone developing mines in the continent an opportunity to bypass all of these risks. So a little bit more about storage itself. Generally, you would have an intelligent microgrid controller that is able to link all aspects of generation and balance the load between all forms. And in the case where you are grid tied, you're able to move between these loads depending on what is happening, giving you quite a high degree of control of some of the volatile risks at your project, as well as the costs. And you're able to build these microgrids either as a direct investment, or it can be a finance solution where you enter into a long-term power purchase agreement or asset lease that can be tailored for life of mine or your particular use case or long-term expansion of an ore body. And SOLA as a group is able to offer both of these. And this gives you, as a mine, an opportunity to hedge out a long-term operating cost and take control of that where it is completely solved for and it is no longer subject to any volatility in the market for diesel or diesel production interruptions or increases in the market price of diesel costs. What we've seen is that price has come down significantly, and the technology has matured to such a point where it is extremely versatile and able to use in multiple applications. In 2018, there was an estimated forecast that manufacturing capacity would triple from 2018 to 2021 to approximately 350 gigawatt hours of global annual production. Part of this is the increase in average factory sizes. The average size has gone from below 5 gigawatt hours per year to above 5 gigawatt hours, with 35 gigawatt hours on the high end. And this was the estimated new capacity being added from approximately 2018. For reference, the Tesla Gigafactory has a production of approximately 35 gigawatt hours and is expected to ramp up to 50 gigawatt hours in the short term. But only a year later, that forecast was revised to double essentially by 2021. This forecast is showing that the battery capacity will increase to 700 gigawatt hours next year, which is a 7 times multiple from production capacity available in 2018. The increase in manufacturing capacity of batteries is largely driven by the mass adoption of electric vehicles and their affordability and the increasing charging networks that allows more consumers to have this as a driving option. Stationary energy storage benefits from this by having access to cheap and advanced batteries. What you're seeing in this graph is the price decrease of the combination of your cell and the module that it sits within over the last 7 years. A large part of this price reduction is driven by, as I said, increase in demand, access to resources, and the high degree of automation that is observable in the factories that are producing these batteries. I had the opportunity to visit a number of battery manufacturers and assemblers and integrators in China last year. And this degree of automation was immediately apparent, with approximately only 10 technicians moving between factory floors on large battery production facilities. What this does is also ramp up the demand for the metals behind the batteries. We're seeing an expected increase in the consumption of graphite, lithium, and nickel to the millions of tons. Africa, not only being blessed with abundant solar resource, also has access to a number of these materials. These are being mined all across the continent, and mines that do produce these materials have an interesting opportunity to actually prime their own market while solving for a number of their risks on site. By installing battery at your facility, not only do you take control of your energy costs, your risks, you are also showcasing battery storage for mines in general. To end off, I'd like to leave you with a couple of comments. Solar alone will save you money, but storage solves the problem. Again, whether it's reliability of electricity supply on your mine site, whether it is being remote, if there are high diesel costs or high logistics costs to get diesel to your site, storage is able to have a role here to mitigate any of these risks and costs. It allows a range of services to be unlocked, access to energy where before none was possible or too expensive, as well as spinning reserve if a small amount of storage is required or your mine is being upgraded. Essentially, storage is where solar was 5 years ago. Solar back then did have to be investigated per tariff, per business case, per load profile. Now it's an obvious decision. If you install solar, you will save money. Storage does require more investigation, more modeling, but it has large benefits in almost all applications. It still gives you control of risks and costs at your mine site. And even more so, if you are in fact mining battery minerals in Africa, energy storage is a must. I wanted to expand on solar as a company. We have projects across sub-Saharan Africa, from utility scale to commercial scale, microgrids, grid-tied solar, grid-tied energy storage projects. We have clients across a whole range of industries, and we are investigating a number of greenfield and brownfield mines with a few close to signature. Thank you very much for joining me this morning, and please feel free to reach out to me if you've got any questions on energy storage and solar energy.